Yeah, okay. I knew that. I was checking. What I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my own mute button. You know what? It hasn't happened in a while. Every once in a while you just have to stay on your toes. Anyway, what I was saying is, thank you, by the way, this is Quilt Nerd. Welcome. We nerd out here on quilts. And if you're new here and you don't know what that means, I'm going to tell you what that means in just a minute. You know, maybe you stumbled upon this show and you're like, what is this? What is this thing, this quilt thing, right? I mean, why isn't she some old lady? Well, we're going to set you straight about that. You know, we've been setting people straight about that since July 2021. 4 months ago. 4 months. Is that right? Yeah. Well, 5. I don't know. We're progressing. We're progressing with our tech and with our audience and our I don't know, anniversary is going to come up soon enough, half a year doing Quilt Nerd. And so it's my favorite thing to do. It's so much fun. It takes time to figure out what I'm going to bring to you all because I care a lot. And I guess that's how I'll start the show tonight, actually, is I'll tell you how I came to be here and why this show exists. I mean, let's just jump into it, right? And I'm seeing people here. I'm seeing, the crew, right? The OG crew. Sue, and I see Debbie in YouTube land. I'm so glad. Okay, yes. Yeah, we fixed it. Hey, Dip Fried. I'm sorry. I was obviously not looking at the chat, so I was just like, anyway, thank you all for letting me know. Ivy Kadivy. I'm so glad that you were, very nice, yes. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad everybody's here. From Scratch by Jen, it's great to see you. Jill, Michelle, I saw something in the chat while I was setting my things up that it's negative 45 degrees in Canada or something. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. We've got Quiltish in the chat. Oh, it's 34 degrees Fahrenheit in Canada. Well, yeah, where you are, Quiltish. Anyway, Bip is here. Michelle Van Scrappy, Kelly, Mother Nature. We've got Jill. We've got Sujan is here. Brendan, hey Brendan. Yeah, I'm into the music. It's got to be gospel, soul, or I don't know, roots country. I've been branching out from the gospel. This is Quilt Church. This show started off with no name, and then it became Quilt Church because it's kind of like, it's church for quilts. But really, it's just a nerd out on them. Okay, so I promise I'm going to tell you what that means. Okay, NDH and Fiandor coming in with the music. Love it. The Write Down and Myra and Kay and Little Bird Stitch. Mary. Crafts for Others, and I'm going to say hi to everybody else here in just a minute. Karen is here, and Nancy, and everybody. Okay, so thank you for coming. So this show is, so I grew up not making quilts, right? But I grew up around quilts because my mom makes quilts, and she works in the quilt industry. And when I tell people that I work in the quilt industry too, first of all, I tell them that I never meant to, because it's like what my mom did, and I was like, I was doing my own thing, writing and performing in Chicago. I'm live from Chicago tonight, but I also live in London sometimes. And so my mom, made quilts and stuff, but I didn't growing up, right? But when I tell people I'm in the quilt industry, most people think, I must sell quilts. They think the quilt industry is like an industry where people make quilts and sell them. But in fact, very few quilts are sold these days. I mean, there used to be this big, kind of a cottage industry where people would make quilts and sell them, but that kind of went away, okay? We could nerd out about why, right? But later. And so the quilt industry is actually, it's like a $4 billion industry. Yeah, it's big. It's bigger than online dating. Online dating is just $3 billion. I got married again, so I'm not dating anymore, but boy was I. And I use those apps. But I use quilt stuff more because, anyway, quilt industry is really, really big. And it's magazines, and it's live streams, and it's retreats, and it's fabric sales, and television shows, and, podcasts, and books, and patterns and all kinds of things. It's just this huge subculture, right? So when I first got into the quilt industry, I was teaching with my mom on television, and I was teaching people how to quilt on the internet. But at a certain point, I wrote a book, and I had a fabric line for 5 seconds, and like I did the whole thing. I've written a couple books, actually, quilting books. And I've been an editor of a magazine, quilting magazines, 2 different ones for years. I love being an editor. But I stopped being an editor so I could focus on different projects like this. So a few years ago, like 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I kind of stopped being as interested in making quilts as I was about reading about them. Because the thing is quilts are not just pretty blankets. They're so much more than that. And it took me a while to realize it. But the thing is that I'm curious about the whole world. I'm curious about everything. I want to know about everything. You know, politics, I mean, you sort of have to absorb a little bit of the politics part of the world, you know, or you aren't going to understand other stuff. But I like the other stuff, you know. I like philosophy and art, and even some questions of economics and just how the world works and how to live a good life, and material culture and history, women's history, American history. And quilts lead the way to all of that, because when you look at a quilt, you learn about the world because you can figure out who made it, or maybe you can't figure out who made it, okay? Which leads you into the question of why. You know, why didn't people sign their quilts when they were making them in the 19th century? A lot of these quilts they're works of art, but they weren't called works of art at that time. And some of them aren't called works of art now. Why? When you look at the technology that is behind every quilt, fabric production, dye production, sewing machines, you know, the history of the sewing machine, it's crazy. Did you know that the Singer Sewing Machine Company, or was it Sears? I forget, but to buy a sewing machine, by the 1870s, like most people had like access to some kind of sewing machine. But the sewing machine was the first thing you could buy on layaway. And a lot of people bought sewing machines on layaway, and you had little banks, like little Singer banks that you would like put the money in or something to give the layaway guy. I don't know. We could look at that sometime. That's what we do here. We nerd out about all these aspects of quilt making and quilts because they're so interesting. And if you have never seen this show before, I challenge you. I think you should get some chips. We like to have potato chips here while we do this show, and you should just, you know, just nestle yourselves. And sit back and let us just nerd out with you. We're going to look at all kinds of things tonight. There's so many things I have for you. I have so many pieces of content for you. And what I do, this isn't a lecture. It's not a class. It's not a demo or some kind of presentation. I just do a lot of research all the time for various projects in the quilt world, right? Last night we had an idea for a book. Jill had a fabulous idea for a book that, frankly, I haven't stopped thinking about. And it's a book that would be, you know, like profiling famous or significant, right, quilters in history. You know, there's no biographies on these people. We look at all these amazing people. Harriet Powers, you know, Jeffrey Gutchen, right? Remember that guy who, like, built the studio where, you know, John Lennon, like, made music, you know, and he was a quilter, and he was like this pioneering quilter. It's ridiculous. These people are ridiculous. They're amazing. And there's no biography book on them, right? So I was thinking, well, what if I just pitch it, you know, to an agent, right? Just be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Here's there's a space in the market for this book, you know. What do you think? You know, would you like represent me if I like gave you, you know, a few chapters or something? And, you know, anyway, it could happen. It could probably happen. I don't know. Where was I? Let me pitch a book to you. So I don't present information to you exactly. I pull together all this stuff and then I share it with you, and I discover stuff with you. Because I don't want to, I mean, I give lectures, I do presentations. I don't want to polish this up and bring it to you. It would kill me to try to like make it. I want to discover with you. So I gather stuff together and I read things to you, and we look at pictures and we watch video. We're going to watch a little bit of video tonight. So who knows what'll happen. So that's what we're going to do, because it's endlessly interesting. It is. If you like history, if you like, you know, pretty blankets, you're going to like the show. So, Yes, Singer was the first creditor. Interesting. Thank you, Jill. A nun maker. Hey, oh, it's muggy and warm in Pensacola. It's very interesting. Yep. A nun maker is having hot chocolate anyway. Damn it. It's December. This is what is supposed to happen in December. And Dip Fried, by the way, in YouTube land. God bless you. God bless you. You said here, my earbuds were on mute with the sound problem, but actually it was my fault. I was muted. Just kills me. Okay, but it's live. See, anything can happen. It's live. I could put my foot in my mouth. It's happened before. It'll happen again. But yeah, it was me. It wasn't you. Okay, so we're going to start the show with a couple announcements. Really good news. Very good news. And then we're going to talk about the quilt that's behind me. Okay, because every show there's a different quilt behind me, and we start there. It's like our blast off moment. The first bit of news is that there's a New Year's Eve show. There's a New Year's Eve show because there's a pandemic going on, and even if there wasn't, I don't know, New Year's Eve parties. I think I've had a lot of them in my life, and they're great. But I'd really like to be with you this year. I would. So I'm designing a New Year's Eve party. And Brendan Seberg, I think it was you yesterday, because I did an extra stream yesterday. Didn't you say that if there's a New Year's Eve quilt that we could feature on the show, if anybody could find it, it would be me? Well, I don't think that's true, because Susan Michael, she's like the unofficial Quilt Nerd research assistant. I'm serious. There's many of you who find many amazing things. Susan is precocious. So, but I did find one. I found a New Year's Eve quilt. So there is going to be a New Year's Eve quilt featured on the show on New Year's Eve, and there is also going to be a sound effect. That's right. You ready for this? Happy New Year! Look. I pay for the service that has the music and the special effects, the sound effects. Damn it, I'm going to use my membership. Happy New Year! So I'm gonna push that button at the stroke of midnight, okay? So you heard it here, Padma. Hey, Chris Mess, thank you for subscribing. You're on a 3-month streak of subscribing to the show, and I really appreciate it a lot. It's good to see you. And yeah, if you're not doing anything New Year's Eve, any of you, all of you, hang out with me. The show's going to go live at 10:30. I'm going to wear a fabulous dress, and I'm going to hit that button. And I don't know what else. I'll have some champagne. I mean, come on. I have champagne sometimes just anyway. Okay, and so there's a New Year's Eve show, and I found a quilt. I found a New Year's Eve quilt. That's amazing. And then here is the other sound cue I have, and this maybe was Padma, who suggested we have like an ooh ah sound effect. This was what I found. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Here's what it is. Let's hear it again. I searched for ooh ah and pleased crowd sound effect and stuff, and I couldn't find it in the the service that I pay for, and so no, it sounds more like a crowd going, like a ballerina has just done a twirl or something like that. It's not quite there. But I had to add it, so now I have 5 sound effects. And aren't you proud of me? Thanks. And we know what the other ones are. I'll play them at some point during the show. Hey, Ivana. It sounds just disturbing. I agree with you. I think it sounds a little bit disturbing too. I'll keep working. Oh God. Bip says it sounds like a last breath. Yeah. Oh, this is good. Okay, Jill. Yeah, I should have a graduation. Yeah, the graduation song. When we learn something really great, because it's the nerd show. And so there's special emotes, and one of the emotes that we have is when we learn something really great, you put a little mortarboard, the cap and gown cap thing in the chat. So yeah, a graduation song. Yeah, I can't think of it now, but I know what you're talking about. Okay, so sound effects, check. New Year's Eve show, check. And then also, the last announcement is that on Saturday night, if you missed it, we always have a show on Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, always. Thursday show is at 11 a.m. Central. It's on the schedule. But Saturday night is a special night because if you weren't here yesterday, I let you know that I'm going to be giving you a sneak peek of a video that I am making. It's, going to be ready by Saturday night at 10 p.m. Central. About it's a scathing, it's like a manifesto, right, to all the people who are cutting up quilts to make clothes. It's endemic, it's a problem, and it's an emergency. So I'm making a video about it. I am being very clear in my video how I feel about it and why it's a problem. And so I'm a little bit scared to put it out there because it's going to make some people really mad. It might even hurt some people because they didn't think that they were doing anything wrong. And I get it, but they are doing something wrong, and I'm here to tell them. So, I'm gonna show it to you before I post it on the internet. So it will be on the internet because it'll be live with you, but it's I won't officially post it on YouTube until after you see it, because you're my nerds. You're gonna see it first, and if there are glaring problems, you can let me know, and I can fix them before I actually post it to the internet. So Saturday night, sneak peek, be here. So Friday night is New Year's Eve. Saturday night, it's the first day of the year. Why not do something daring? My grandmother said, on the first day of the year, you should, whatever you do is like, sets the tone for the whole year. So you should, do what you want the year to be like, right? So I try to exercise a little bit, and I try to relax and all of that. Then if something really bad happens, I'm like, oh no, the year's going to be terrible. It's not usually that way. Okay. Oh, nice, Sue. Cool. Sue says, I've been talking about it in Twitter with some quilters I follow. Well, listen, if anybody, wants to come and see that, anybody can come on Saturday night and see it. Anybody who wants to come by and watch it can. I'm very nervous, but it's going to be okay. All right, so that is that. If you don't follow me on social media, Yo Mary Fons, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, all the things, YouTube. Subscribe, all of that. It's really important. It's a thing. It's a thing. It helps creators to, get in the algorithm and all that stuff that I can't stand, but that's the game I'm playing, right? It's the game we're all playing. So that's the scoop. I hope that everybody is well. And if you're not feeling well, I hope you get well soon. And now, let's talk about this quilt behind me. I gotta get small. Help, I'm small. Okay, and I fixed the chat thing. So obviously the chat was on the starting soon screen, and it was on the screen just now when I was doing the intro. But I have the ability to have the chat up on the screen when we're here in the main show screen, okay? I don't think it's a good idea. It's a great idea if we had some enormous, I don't know. When video gamers stream their video games on Twitch, there's tons of on the screen. There's just all kinds of different things on the screen. The chat box covers up a third of the screen or something. And maybe that's okay for video games. Obviously it is. But we're looking at we're looking at art. It's very important, I think, to see for all of us. I don't want, if I was watching the show, I would not want, a big chunk of this quilt occluded by a chat box. And it's lame because people really, it's nice to be able to see the chat. Because especially when you're watching the replay, hello everybody watching the replay, thank you for watching. You like to see what the conversation is, right? I watch live stream replays, and some of them have the chat thing turned on so you can watch later, and some people don't. But it is cool to be able to see that, but it's not cool to cover up some of this extraordinary quilt with a chat box, right? Are you feeling me on that? Hey, Taxi Bella. Old quilts. Oh, Taxi Bella. Old quilts for sure, man. Old quilts for sure. And new quilt. Yeah. I'll talk about it. You got to show up on Saturday because I think you'll really be interested in what I have to say about the whole issue. Hey, great! I'm glad you like the quilt, Kadivi. Yeah, I think you're with me on this. Okay, cool. So what is this quilt? What is this amazing quilt? Well, I've mentioned her before because she's one of my favorites. It's a quilt by Pauline Burbidge. And there's a reason why I picked it, not just because it's amazing, but also because she's one of my favorite quilt makers, but also because I was going to go back to London like next week or something, or even, next week. But we've decided to stay. Now, Eric's going to be traveling a little bit here and there, but I'm going to be staying in Chicago until I go to QuiltCon in February. And so because I'm not going back, I'm going to miss a show. Pauline Burbidge, this amazing quilter who, let me zoom in on this a little bit so we can see a little bit more of this quilt. This quilt, by the way, is called Pyramids in Disguise, and it's made of silk, and it was made in 1985. And it's just redonkulous. Oh, I had not seen the pyramids until I zoomed in like this. You see them on the slant? Right? The pyramids in disguise. Maybe there's even more pyramids in disguise. Probably. She's pretty smart. And really good at quilts. But her, I love her work, and there's a show going on right now in Edinburgh, outside of Edinburgh, I think. So hello to all my UK friends. So I'm going to tell you about the show. I've got some information for you about it. If you're in the area, you can go see it. But I have a little video of the gallery that we're going to watch together, because I was going to go. Because I was going to be in the UK, but now I'm not going to go. And so, man, I'm really bummed about that. And I would really like to see that show. But it's okay. It's okay. Who knows? Maybe it'll be closed anyway, the gallery. Let's just hope that's not true. Okay. So this is Pyramids in Disguise, 1985, silk by Pauline Burbidge. Okay. So here's why I love this show. Because as I put it together, I learned things, and that's the whole point, right? Well, I found this quilt in this crazy place. I wanted just the perfect Pauline quilt, of course. And I found this particular quilt on this website. Let's just, who is this woman? What is going on here? She looks like, I want to know this person. I love her dress. I love her hair. I love that she's smiling and she's making something with her hands. I was like, what is going on here? Look at this. This is amazing. Diana Springhall embroidery collection. Okay. I know. What does this mean? So hang on. Let me do something here, because I think this is kind of cut off a little bit. Hang on. I got to make sure you can see all my screen. I don't want things to be cut off for you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think that's the way it's got to be. Okay. Yeah, there. Okay. So this is about Diana Springhall. So there's a collection. Okay, this woman has started a collection, and it's in Britain. These are all pieces of embroidery and of textile art that she has collected. Okay, and we're going to read about her. I didn't read much because I want to discover it with you, as I said, but this is one woman's collection. So the Pauline Burbidge quilt I just showed you is in this collection. So it's like, what is the deal with this? And who is this just like incandescent woman in a red dress? Okay, so here's about Diana Springhall. I won't read everything, but I'll read you a little bit. It says, about Diana Springhall, why have I collected embroidery made by my peers and colleagues? Okay, it's interesting. Okay, hold on, let me do this. I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read to you about it. Hang on. And I'm going to show you some works from the collection while I do that. I should have thought of that before, but that's okay, because I don't want you to look at text. I want you to look at pretty things. So this is what Diana says about her collection. Following my training as a painter, I soon realized the importance of adding craft skills to my teaching career, in particular, embroidery. Thus, at the start of the 1960s, as a passionate teacher and practicing embroiderer, I made scores of slides, 35mm slides for students to share. And I bought every book, but I knew nothing could excite them more than enabling them to see and handle the real thing. Wow. Okay, what else are we going to look at? Let's look at this. The only solution, Diana says, was to... Wow, that's so cool. Was to make modest purchases of examples of contemporary embroidery by graduate students and my colleagues and peers. You know? And by the way, the Art Institute of Chicago, I mentioned this at one point, the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, hey, thank you. I can't see the screen, but I thank you so much. You either subscribed or you gifted a subscription or you became a follower, and I appreciate you. Thank you. The School of the Art Institute, where I got my master's degree in writing, is obviously connected to the Art Institute of Chicago, the museum. And the School of the Art Institute came first. The woman who started the School of the Art Institute started collecting work to share with her students. And that's what the museum came from that. Wow, look at this. So this is the same thing. Okay. So Diana Springhall was collecting art. As time went on, I also became aware that the fine art world regarded crafts as lower in artistic importance. Something that has changed little today, in spite of the fact that most embroiderers have been trained in some aspect of fine art. It is this injustice that has constantly kept me mindful. Hang on, let me show you something. Kept me mindful. Here's Burbidge, right here. Something has kept me mindful of having to be ready to find ways to say that actually we are all equally fine. I pulled these pictures up for you, by the way. Look at this. This is part of the collection that she has. She has the drawing that Pauline Burbidge did of this work. Is that cool or what, man? It's so great. I can't look at the chat right now because I've got this full screen thing going on. So I'm just trusting that you're excited. So back to Diana Springhall. She says most of these pieces that she purchased, most were purchased for modest sums, but many were an agreement of exchange, and in several significant cases have been gifts. Everyone I knew was not a collector in the conventional sense. In other words, I was not going to an auction house in years to come. I had not, I had not, however, envisaged what was generously described below by Jessica Hemmings in her foreword to An Embroiderer's Eye. This is also another Pauline Burbidge quilt here, part of this collection. What I saw in the building of this resource, Diana says, was one that would allow me, at very short notice, to show those who question me with the words, "What do you mean by embroidery?" I could reply by saying, "I will show you." Ugh. Oh, that gives me chills. That's so amazing. She's so amazing. Did you see her dress? I mean, are you... Okay, so I would say this. I would say you should learn more about this person and this collection, and can we look at her? Just goals. That's all I have to say. Goals. That's who I want to be. That woman is who I want to be. I think I can manage it in terms of the dress. I can just keep that picture for a very long time. The glasses, the dress, everything. It's everything. I love it so much. So yeah, that's where I found the Pauline Burbidge quilt. Isn't that great? Yeah, cool, right? So cool. She is a genius. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pauline Burbidge and Diana Springhall. I mean, these are just they're just great. They're just great. This seems awfully large. Just love it. Okay, so that's it. And let's just look at this drawing again, right? I mean, that's just awesome. It's just awesome. And my mom talked the other day when she was guesting on the show. Oh, wait, look down there. What Pauline has written. Design for pyramid in disguise and strippy step. That's what this is, isn't it? It's a strippy step. I'm into it. I love her handwriting. Of course, she has amazing handwriting. Anyway, my mom said the other day on the show that she designed all her quilts on graph paper back in the day, and that she still designs on graph paper. And I mean, I would not want to. This quilt in particular. I'm not saying it would be easy, and you have to have the mind of an artist, right, to come up with something like this. But on graph paper, frankly, this seems like it would be easier to work out, than on a computer. But of course, if you know your computer programs, then you can do just fine. But anyway, so this is our embroidery collection. We'll get the notes, in the Discord, and you'll be able to poke around there. Way cool, right? Okay, so here's the deal about the Pauline Burbidge exhibit that I'm going to miss. This is Pauline's website. You can take a look at the different stuff that she's got going on. And someone mentioned her water quilts, Little Bird Stitch. Yeah, her water quilts are so cool. In fact, oh, well, we could just look at that one. Yeah, I mean, so you just saw her work, obviously, on the desktop, and her newer stuff is very different. We looked at Michael James the other day on the same show that my mom was on. Remember when she dipped out to do her laundry and she just said that she was going to do that? It's great. It's like moments in Quilt Nerd history, right? So just like Michael James, his earlier work, the work in his archives, is very graphic, very, it's solid colors and just geometric, and more, since like in the last 10 years or so, he's been doing a lot more stuff that's much more sort of nature-based. I mean, these look like, fossils or something, not troglodytes. What am I thinking? The fossils, not triceratops. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, those things. What am I thinking? What is the word? The like the Paleolithic fossils. What are they? It starts with a T. Hold on. I've lost it. It's not Triceratops or troglodyte, but it's something like that. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to miss this exhibit, but look at this. There is a 1 minute and 49-second video all about the exhibit that's happening right now. So it's going to be, let's watch it. It's going to happen through January of 2022. So, or maybe February. I saw a couple different things. And this video has been put together by the Quilters Guild, okay, over there in the UK. And I'll read you what it says and then we'll watch the video. This says, browse through some, I should subscribe. See? You see? Oh, and now I'll put a notification bell on so I know when they post another video. You should all do that to this YouTube account and also to my YouTube account. It'd be great. This says, browse through some of the wonderful quilts in the exhibition Quilts Resurgence at the Granary Gallery, Berwick-upon-Tweed. I miss the United Kingdom so much. Berwick-upon-Tweed. You can visit in person from 23rd October 2021 to 6th February 2022. The exhibition is open Wednesdays to Sundays. Okay, and it shows selected quilts from the Quilters Guild Museum collection, which is amazing, okay? And it was co-curated by internationally renowned quilt artist Pauline Burbidge. And yes, so that's cool. Okay, so, interesting. It's not just Pauline Burbidge. It's these Quilters Guild quilts. But I know I saw Pauline Burbidge quilts in here. I'm not wrong, am I? No, yeah, okay, I'm not wrong. Okay, let's watch it. Now, Trilobite. Thank you, Little Bird Stitch. What would I do without you? You stitching little bird? I don't know. Okay. Oh, goodness. Come back. All right, let's do it. Now I have to, give my little commentary so I don't get like copyright struck or something like that. I still don't know how all that works. All right.
Quilt's Resurgence explores the revival of quilt making, showcasing the wealth of contemporary...
Look. Okay. Pauline Burbidge on that back wall. Maybe Burbidge over here on the right wall. The wall to the right. classic log cabin there on the thing. Sorry, but I had to point it out because I've seen that Burbidge quilt. But you can tell it's Pauline Burbidge, right? She has a very specific oeuvre.
Contemporary work that has developed over the last 4 decades, and examining the rich historical practice that has been their foundation and inspiration. With historic treasures.
Oh wow, that one on the back wall. Maybe it's not a Raleigh quilt from like Pakistan kind of region, but it's definitely like Pakistan or Turkmenistan, something like that. I would say. I don't know for sure, but I have a good feeling about it. Okay.
Is placed alongside cutting-edge contemporary work. Visitors are able to appreciate the rich, strong roots of quilt making, as well as how contemporary artists have moved beyond those conventional styles and boundaries to create new work and express.
Wow, look at that. Oh my god. That is amazing. That's really something. Okay, so do you see how it's glazed? It's like glazed. And by the way, Kathy Klein also came in with the trilobite. Thank you so much. Kathy, I'm so glad you're here, by the way. Kathy and Kathy. There's several Kathys. Okay, yeah. So the glazed look, this is really interesting. I wish I could see the name of the person who made it and what this is called, because Calamanco quilts, right? Calamanco quilts are whole cloth quilts. And this isn't a whole cloth quilt because obviously there's different fabrics in it, but it's referencing Calamanco without a doubt, right? Because it looks a little bit like a whole cloth quilt, right? With all of this intricate quilting in it. The Calamanco quilts, they're not always like glazed or shiny, but a lot of them are. And from what I understand, and we should do a whole Calamanco show because I need to make sure that what I know about Calamanco quilts is actually true. But like an egg wash or something. I know, I'm not making this up, but there would be a treatment on the whole cloth quilt to make it kind of shiny, and also, or heat would be applied to the top, and that would sort of bring out the oils, right? Because this was like linen or wool or whatever. So anyway, that Calamanco quilts are shiny a lot of times, and they didn't just wave a magic wand, to make them shiny. They did some kind of treatment to the quilt. So this is also shiny. Yeah, we're in the museum. We could have gone to the Fabric of a Nation museum together.
Art form.
Anyway. Wow. Okay, no. That's not cotton. That's something else. Everything I said about, it still applies. Calamanco is being referenced here. I know it. But that doesn't look like cotton, or it looks synthetic. Amazing.
The rich heritage of British and American quilts has been a huge inspiration and of great importance to the development and growth of the contemporary quilt.
Wow.
Many of the quilts on display in this exhibition have a particular connection to the north of England, where strong traditional whole cloth quilting roots developed in the 19th and 20th centuries, along with Wales and the Scottish borders. All of the quilts have been selected from the collection of the Quilters Guild of the British Isles, and membership organisations.
That's Burbidge, for sure. I don't know about that little tree one, but the one on the right, for sure. I've seen that quilt several times.
Organisation and educational charity, which preserves the heritage of quilting.
That is Laura. I can see the card. That's not Pauline Burbidge. I might have said it was. It's called "They Cast a Spell on Me" by Laura Kearnshaw, 2004.
And works to ensure a vibrant future for the craft. The exhibition has been co-curated
by
internationally renowned quilt artist Pauline Burbidge, and takes place at the Granary Gallery.
Look how cool she is. She's so cool.
Managed by Maltings, a fantastic exhibition space in the heart of Berwick-upon-Tweed.
Look at her. She looks sort of mischievous. It's just how I picture her.
Which exhibits
Where's her?
It's modern and contemporary art and craft from the best regional, national and international art collections. For more information on opening times for the exhibition, please visit.
Anybody who's out there, It goes through February 6th. You gotta go.
Visit maltingsberwick.co.uk.
Wasn't that nice? There's more cool videos from the Quilters Guild Museum collection. We should check that out. Jenny Smith, my friend Jenny Smith, my friend and colleague, is involved with them, and I need to see the collection. I can go see some of the pieces of the collection, and I just haven't yet because of the pandemic. And okay, so that was the intro quilt. You know, that was a serious intro quilt. Now, the next thing, I hope you enjoyed that. The next thing I have for you is actually, it has to do with the intro quilt as well. Not because it's a Pauline Burbidge thing or anything about the show, but I have wanted to show you this particular quilt forever. And it just keeps getting bumped to a different show because, well, when I went to put it on the screen and have it behind me, it just didn't feel right. When you see the quilt, I think you'll know. Hey Barbara. Hey Shasta. I'm so glad you're here over in YouTube land. I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you for coming. So yeah, when you see the quilt, you'll see why it was just kind of bizarre to sit in front of it. But this is an amazing quilt, and I have been wanting to share it with you for a while. Look at this quilt. Look at this quilt. This quilt is the Sojourner Truth quilt by Ray Laurie. Ray Laurie made this quilt in, oh no, where is that note? Where is my note? Hold on, I've got my notes about Ray Laurie. Sojourner Truth. This was made in, oh, maybe they didn't. Yeah, 1988. 1988. When was Pauline's? 1985. So they were obviously contemporaries. For sure they were. 1988. It's the Sojourner Truth Commemorative Hanging Quilt. Okay. Is that right? That's what these people are calling it. I guess it is. Yeah, it is. This is what the Heritage Auctions site has to say about this quilt, okay? But wait, there's more after this. Okay, so beautifully rendered. This quilt features screen-printed portraits of Sojourner Truth. I'm going to zoom in on this. And I'll read to you a little bit about Ray Laurie, although she comes up all the time, and that we've never just done one big thing on her, because frankly, she's everywhere. Like, she has so much to do with where we are today with quilt making, and her body of work is so enormous, and she just was so prolific and started making quilts in the 60s and passed away, you know, within this century. And so she was amazing. So it's kind of hard to do a show on Ray Laurie. I'd rather just have her come in, you know, where she comes in throughout our time together. Okay, it's been, this quilt has been both machine pieced and hand quilted, made by renowned textile artist Ray Laurie. She was born in 1928 and died in 2011. It features a lengthy quote Laurie attributes to Truth, which Laurie originally read in a small museum near her home in Iowa. It reads in full. We have many booby men in the land, and they came from weak women who say, I've got all the rights I want. I tell you, if you want great men, you must have great mothers. Why, children? Raising babies is the greatest and most important business that is done. How can a woman give brains to her baby when she hasn't got them herself? And signed on the purple border, Ray Laurie, 1988, and the upper edge contains a quilt sleeve and a wooden mounting rod. Okay, so yeah. Ray Laurie, Sojourner Truth quilt. Okay, pretty amazing. So this, by the way, this quilt is not, I can't see the price on it. There's heritage sites, auction sites that will show you the price or not. I don't think this has been sold. I mean, I think it's still available because usually they'll say sold on these things, okay? But it didn't say that. There's also, it's interesting, I didn't notice that they have the back. The back is a checkerboard pattern. It's nothing crazy. She has a label on the back too with an image. But so there's this. Okay, and I wanted to show you this quilt because it's wonderful, right? It's wonderful, and I came upon it very much by accident. I've seen a lot of Jean Ray Laurie's quilts, but I'd never seen this one. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about her. Just the first part of her Wikipedia entry, just a paragraph. So those of you who don't know her, right, can see can know a little bit. Oh, help, I'm big. Oh no, I wasn't even. Oh no, I was reading the thing. I did what I didn't want to do. You guys, really? Ugh. Why? What happened? What's happening to me? Let me see what it looked like. Hold on. Oh yeah, great. Well, I bet you're just on the edge of your seats. I was zooming in. I don't know. I mean, Eric ought to be watching the show. Like, I need a producer, right? I need a producer. Okay, let's try that again. Can't see. Oh God. All right. I'm just gonna pretend that I have a producer, and he screwed up. That's right. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit here. And I can read to you about Jean Ray Laurie while you're looking at this wonderful quilt. Okay, and you know what? You know what I'll do? I'll even do this. I'd like to hide completely. So I'll do that. Oy. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I can't believe that. Yeah, okay. So we move on. It's fine. So here's a little bit about Jean Ray Laurie. Okay, thank you, Jill. God bless you, Ivy, everyone. I do need that third monitor. Someone said it, and it's really true. But you know what? I gotta watch my pennies. So Jean Ray Laurie. Oh, and I have something about Sojourner Truth too. Let me read about Sojourner Truth. Let me do that because that's what I'm talking about. When we have these quilts, we have the opportunity to learn stuff, right? And I was like, Sojourner Truth, what do I really know about Sojourner Truth? Not a ton. So before I tell you about Jean Ray Laurie, the woman who made this quilt, this legendary woman who made this quilt, let me just read to you a little bit about Sojourner Truth because, I mean, isn't that the best thing we could possibly do with our time? I mean, I'm serious, obviously. So this is from the National Women's History Museum about Sojourner Truth, okay? So, oh, and you know what? See, everything's fine because check this out. There's another quilt. There's another Sojourner Truth quilt by Jean Ray Laurie, and I can't explain it. Look at this. I found this one. It's by Jean Ray Laurie. I don't know. I found an image of it online. I don't know more about it. I don't know who owns this. Maybe it's the San Jose Museum of Textile. Maybe, but it's just a crack up. Okay, let's talk about Sojourner Truth, and I'll show you the first quilt again, and then we'll come back to this one. Okay, so this is the one that you should have seen before. From the National Women's History Museum. A former slave, Sojourner Truth became an outspoken advocate for abolition, temperance, and civil and women's rights in the 19th century. Her Civil War work earned her an invitation to meet President Abraham Lincoln in 1864. Not bad. Truth was born Isabella Baumfree, a slave in Dutch-speaking Ulster County, New York, in 1797. Wow. She was born in 1797. She was bought and sold 4 times and subjected to harsh physical labor and violent punishments. In her teens, she was united with another slave with whom she had 5 children, beginning in 1815. In her teens, in 1827, a year before New York's law freeing slaves was to take effect, Truth ran away with her infant Sophia to a nearby abolitionist family, the Van Wagoners. The family bought her freedom for $20 and helped Truth successfully sue No way. Really? That's amazing. Helped her sue for the return of her 5-year-old son, Peter, who was illegally sold into slavery in Alabama. Wow. Truth moved to New York City in 1828, where she worked for a local minister. That's Jean Ray Laurie, okay. By the early 1830s, she participated in the religious revivals that were sweeping the state and became a charismatic speaker. In 1843, she declared that the Spirit called her to preach the truth, renaming herself Sojourner Truth. As an itinerant preacher, Truth met abolitionists William Lloyd Garrison and Frederick Douglass. Garrison's anti-slavery organization encouraged Truth to give speeches about the evils of slavery. She never learned to read or write. In 1850, she dictated what would become her autobiography, The Narrative of Sojourner Truth, to Oliver Gilbert, who assisted in its publication. Truth survived on sales of the book, which also brought her national recognition. She met women's rights activists, including Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony. She was like a scene star. Sojourner Truth was like, I mean, that's a scene. She was right in it. She met women's rights activists. Both causes she quickly championed, which was women's rights and temperance. In 1851, Truth began a lecture tour that included a women's rights conference. I love the way this quilt is shaped. It's so good. Her lecture tour included a women's rights conference in Akron, Ohio, where she delivered her famous Ain't I a Woman speech. In it, she challenged prevailing notions of racial and gender inferiority and inequality by reminding listeners of her combined strength. Truth was nearly 6 feet tall, and female status. She was nearly 6 feet tall. That's so amazing. See, take time to read the stuff, right? That's what we have here on the show. We have like an opportunity to just like sit and chill and learn some things, right? Truth ultimately split with Douglass, who believed suffrage for formerly enslaved men should come before women's suffrage. Truth thought both should occur simultaneously. Here's the last paragraph of this entry here. During the 1850s, Truth settled in Battle Creek, Michigan, where 3 of her daughters lived. She continued speaking nationally and helped slaves escape to freedom. When the Civil War started, Truth urged young men to join the Union cause and organize supplies for black troops. After the war, she was honored with an invitation to the White House and became involved with the Freedmen's Bureau, helping freed slaves find jobs and build new lives. While in Washington, D.C., she... just get here. Kind of a close-up on Miss Truth here at the end. While in Washington, D.C., she lobbied against segregation, and in the mid-1860s, when a streetcar conductor tried to violently block her from riding, she ensured his arrest and won her subsequent case. In the late 1860s, she collected thousands of signatures on a petition to provide former slaves with land, though Congress never took action. Nearly blind and deaf toward the end of her life, Truth spent her final years in Michigan. Cool. Now I feel like I can come back in shame. So cool. Yeah, and you know what? Someone said that the other quilt is like a flag, shaped like a flag, totally. Okay, so here we go. Amazing. More amazing than I was like, oh, Sojourner Truth is amazing, but like the details are so good, right? So then Jean Ray Laurie, the person who honored her in these 2 quilts, was born in 1928. That's interesting. Jean Ray Laurie was an American academically trained artist and designer. She was one of the first fine artists to move to quilting as a medium of choice in the late 1950s. So like Gutchen was doing stuff early, Beth Gutchen, Jeffrey Gutchen, these people. And a lot of other people we haven't even met yet, or I don't even know about yet. But Jean Ray, man, she was right there. Her quilts followed neither traditional method nor pattern. They were bold, modern, colorful collages, often laced with humor and satire. Penning over 20 books and teaching over 2,000 workshops, Laurie helped women see the creative possibilities in everyday objects and awake their sense of inspiration. Laurie has been called a foremother of a quilt revival and one of the pioneers of non-traditional quilts. Oh, so cool. And I've told the story before when she's come up, but I'll tell it again. God help me, I'm still big. No, I'm still small. Okay, good. So, actually, I'll do this. My mom and I were giving a lecture. I have to tell the story about Jean Ray Laurie because it's so funny. My mom and I were giving a lecture, and we talked about a Jean Ray Laurie quilt. This was years ago in Shipshewana, Indiana. I will never forget it. And I was like, I'm so sad that I never got to meet Jean Ray Laurie before she died, you know. And my mom was like, oh, you met her. Yeah, oh yeah, she held you. She watched you as a baby. She came to, you know, see me in Winterset or something. We were working on something, you know, and Eric's breaking the house. I had to go do something, and so she just minded you while I was gone. So I was like, so Jean Ray Laurie held me as a baby, and that is why I've survived this long, because she, like, you know, gave me some sort of blessing. So that's kind of fun. Hey, Hillary Goodwin, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And Little Bird Stitch, it went on a gifting spree. Oh, it was really great. A few, like last week or something like that. And you were one of the beneficiaries of Hillary, of Little Bird Stitch's gift. That's awesome. Yeah, I know, it's pretty good. She wore these big red glasses for a long time, Jean Ray Laurie, and I also wore red glasses at one point when I was extremely cool in 6th grade or something, and I wonder if that had any impact, you know, if her style had any impact on me. Okay, so those are the intro quilts. I mean, the intro quilts are half this show. Okay. But, I mean, it's not even halfway over yet, because there's more. There's so much more. Okay. What do I do next? I have so much stuff. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I've got 2 things to share with you that I'm so excited to share with you. One's quick, small. It's just like a hot tip. And then this other one that I think I'll start with is just lovely. It's just a lovely thing that I came across on my journeys. Yeah, it's super cool. Hey, Dee Dee Brew Crew. I don't think I said hi to you yet. It's good to see you. So look at this. I came across this painting, and I was like, oh, well, that's beautiful. And I decided that I had to figure out who made this painting. And as I was looking for her name is Valeriane LeBlond. Okay, Valeriane LeBlond. I will. I'll put her Instagram. No, that's not true. That's not her. Never mind. I don't have her Instagram yet, but that's okay. It's actually Valeriane. I don't know. Here's who it is. Okay, and I have so many pictures that she's painted, and most of them have quilts in them. Not all of them. Not all of the pictures that she paints have quilts in them, but so many have quilts in them, and they're so delightful. They're so delightful. And then, I mean, there's a product that she sells that I think we're all gonna have to get. You'll see. I know, it's so calming. It's very true. It's a very calming. What is the word? It's a very calming aesthetic, right? Okay, so this is Valeriane. It's VALE with an accent, like the accent that goes up and to the right. VALERIANE. Valeriane, beautiful. LeBlond. Okay. Thank you, Susan. So this is a book. Okay, this is a book that she wrote. So I guess there's 2 products that a lot of us are gonna want, right? Because this is cool. But let me read to you about her, because some of you may some of you will not be surprised maybe when you hear some of this, judging by the pictures that you're seeing. Okay, so here's what she says on her website. I am a French and Quebecer artist who has lived in Wales since 2007. I was brought up in Angers, France, and went to live in this beautiful country of Wales after graduating in literature in Nantes. Nantes, Nantes. My French pronunciation is terrible. That is me saying that, not Valeriane. Back to her. I live in an old farmhouse near... that's Welsh. So, I mean, my French is amazing compared to my Welsh. And that is not going to be easy for me to say. But Aberystwyth. She lives there in a farmhouse with her 3 sons, several cats, and too many chickens. Okay. I have a little studio at home where I paint while listening to French radio and sipping posh tea. Oh, I love her. I have a picture of her in here too. In winter, the wood burner is lit. I think this is her. I'm pretty sure this is her. It's weird though, because I've got a couple different pictures of her. I've seen them. And I don't know. I mean, I know it's her, right? But there's a couple pictures that she looks different in these different pictures. So anyway, let's get to her more artwork. There's so much to see. In winter, the wood burner is lit, and I have a cat or two purring by my side. I think we all would like your life, Valeriane. In summer, I struggle to stay indoors and paint more during the evening. Look at these pictures. My artworks often deal with the idea of belonging, how people inhabit the land they call home. Most of my works have details and sub-stories. Look, that's a very Welsh quilt in the background, right? If you know your Welsh quilts, you know that's looks pretty classic. She says, most of my works have details and sub-stories that you may notice if you look longer. I love reading novels and wanted to be a writer when I was a child. There is a narrative aspect in my paintings, and I often have to write down what I have in mind before I start to paint it. I also illustrate picture books, which is a great way of combining my 2 passions, books and painting. Yeah. I mean, they're just so lovely, aren't they? They're just real sweet. This one, I mean, I don't know. There's some of them that I grabbed. She produces a lot of work. And there's some that I have grabbed that are, I don't know, they're really, really lovely. Okay. Accent grab is the opposite. Okay, yeah. Okay. Thank you for people who help out with tech stuff in the chat. I really appreciate that a lot when people are having trouble and you help them out. So thank you. See, she looks different than that other picture. I don't know if that other woman was this woman, but that is definitely Valeriane. Okay. Yeah, the crooked roofs. There's this whole, her aesthetic is just really specific. Look, I mean, it's really nice. Now, did she say she paints on wood? Did she say that? Listening to it. Okay, I did it. I don't think she said that, but some of them seem like that they're painted on wood, but I don't know. You know, this painting is really a good example of this, what she was saying about sub-stories. I mean, that person is looking very sad, you know? And so there's definitely a story here, but there's a quilt on the line, you know? So we're here for it. I just like this. There's no quilt. There's a lovely bird. That could have been the background to the show tonight. No quilt in this either. I threw in a couple that are just lovely. It makes me want to go to Wales. I've been wanting to go to Wales for a while. I hope to have that happen in the next, within the next 6 months. It would be nice to do that. Maybe I could go visit her studio or something. Wouldn't that be nice? Quilt Nerd field trips, It could happen. There's a few more here. This is a picture of her work in progress. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay, so, oh boy, I really have a lot. I have so many. Okay, so I'm gonna flip. They're so good you could look at them for a while. I know. But we're gonna go. Look at this. The lovers. The lovers. And they look like they have sort of graying hair. So maybe they're Husband and wife. Look at this. There's a 2022 calendar. So I was thinking, like, I don't know, like, maybe that should be a giveaway, you know? Should I try to get that going? Now that I said it, I better do it. But something, you know, because that would be so perfect. Or maybe I could get like a coupon code or something, you know? Wouldn't that be nice? Was there a floating cow? Ivy, was there a floating cow? I missed it. If there's a floating cow, I'm interested. So let me think. I mean, I gotta see if I can like either get some calendars for a giveaway or at least like, I don't know, something's got to happen with this. I mean, it's 2022 calendar and it's almost 2022 and oh, look at that. It's great. Yeah. You got to have a calendar that you like looking at. I mean, we've all had calendars we just hated, right? We can't do that. Can't be that way. I love this. This is probably my favorite because it's snowy and it's beautiful and the quilts are white and the snow is white and it's so evocative and lovely. I hope that's in the calendar. Just picture upon picture. This is an older one. This is beautiful. Another favorite of mine. I like these sort of panoramas that she has. This is wonderful. So, Valeriane LeBlond. Yeah, this is great. Look at this. Going to like a costume party or something. I know. I mean, I don't have anything else to say except they're just so good. Yeah, look at these little guys. They're having some kind of conversation. I mean, an animated conversation. So there's a story there too. Well, I want to read some of her writing as well. So anyway, I can't. I want to move on, but I can't. Okay, so let's look at one little thing. I told you that this particular chapter. Oh, that's the end. This particular chapter of the show tonight was a little bit longer, and then I had this little tidbit for you. Right, I have a little tidbit. And the tidbit is this. I was poking around. I'm going to get big again. Then I'm going to remember to get small. I was poking around on the Met website, and I came across one of my favorite quilts of all time. Now I'm going to get small. Don't worry. I'm saying. Okay. Branches and Vines, which was made in 1875 by... Whoops. Sorry. Nope. Made in 1875 by this woman named Sarah Elizabeth. Anyway, it's just such a beautiful quilt. And when I was looking at it, I noticed that they have a video associated with it at the Met website. And this is that video. And we're not going to watch the whole thing because... it's not all, well, you'll see. It's not all about the quilt. But let me show you. So here, it says Story Time with the Met. Dear Baobab by Cheryl Fogo. Okay? And so I was like, wow, cool. It says this week, Met educator Christina reads Dear Baobab by Cheryl Fogo and connects it to Branches and Vines quilt. I was like, well, this sounds great. I'm showing it to you because I think if you have kids in your life, whether you have kids of your own or you have grandkids, then this looks like a really nice, they do story time from the Met, and I thought I would tell you because that's a cool thing to show a kid who can't go outside as much as they would like to, and the date on this is March 25th 2021. So I think there's a whole lot more of these story times that were being made in 2020. Anyway, so we're not going to watch the whole thing because the quilt doesn't come in until the very end.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Storytime with the Met. My name is Christina, and I'm so glad to see each of you. We'll be gathering every Thursday at noon for a book and an activity.
Okay, so she's very nice and very welcoming, and she's going to share this book, and it's got a tree theme, I think.
Step beside the tree and listen to its voice.
Okay, so she's listening to voice, the tree, blah, blah, blah. And then toward the very end, I was like, where does the quilt come in? Where does it come in? but it does. See, I mean, it's really almost at the end before she talks about it. Okay, here.
Thank you so much for reading along with me. Reading this story reminds me of a quilt that we have in the museum's collection in the American wing. Looking at this quilt, what do you notice? What colors do you see? When you look at the leaves and the branches in this quilt, what do you notice about them? What kinds of stories do you think they might tell about the trees that they come from?
They should show it bigger.
I have an activity that we can try together to help us understand what stories that trees around us tell. So I went in my neighborhood and I collected a few leaves that I liked, and I thought I would try.
So then she does an activity, and it's great. It's great. So that's it. It's a tip. It's a quilt-related thing that is for kids, and there's an activity and a story. So that's it. That's all I want to say. These are the sorts of things that, you know, when you come across them, when you're researching quilts or looking at quilts, it's a perfect example of why doing something like Quilt Nerd has value, I think, because these kinds of little bits, these little nuggets of information and tips and things, before this, they just didn't go anywhere except like across my computer, or someone might mention it to me. And you know, social media is a place where we can share these things, of course, but social media is just, I'm just really bad at it, and I'd rather do it this way, you know. So yeah, that's what that is. It's a little quilt-related kid video with an activity. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and look at Tracey Emin, one of my very, very favorite artists of all time. She makes quilts. She made quilts for a long time, and we're going to see some of those. And this is a not safe for work warning. There's a lot of profanity that shows up in her work, and so if that's like not your jam, I hope you'll stay anyway, because it's a lot more than just like bad words on quilts. Definitely. And I think you'll see that. So, but yeah, there's bad words on quilts. Bad words on quilts coming up after the break. So stick around. It's good stuff. Okay. I'll see you really soon. Okay. Bye. By the way, I saw Sarah Quilt subscribed at Tier 1 for 6 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And 6 months, that's awesome. Think where we're going to be in 6 months. I mean, physically, we could be in a lot of different places. See how I'm glancing to make sure the mic's on. I mean, I know it is, but, you know, I have to remember to do that, apparently. 6 months from now, I mean, 6 months from now, it's totally possible that I will still sometimes forget to turn the mic back on. But I think it's also possible that I'll have, like, you know, a third monitor. And wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that just be a reason to celebrate? And it's possible that we'll have lots of moments where we just feel so happy about the content of the show, and we'll just say, I must have done something good in my life to have this show on 3 times a week at least. Okay, let's see how else we can work this in, and who knows? I mean, I hope that I'm here in 6 months, you know, but maybe I'll do something terrible and I don't know. Maybe I'll commit quilt crimes, man. What would they be? I don't know. Yvonne asked about when am I planning on to do some tier 2 level memberships. It's a very good question. What is my next big thing? Yvonne, I feel like there's something. Someone gifted a subscription. Someone gifted a subscription to. Who did it? Oh, a hype train is close. You guys, a hype train is close. Yvonne, I think maybe I should figure out how to, like, do a few more of these technical things, right, before I do a tier 2 subscription. And the thing is, so in Twitch land, and I don't, you know, the YouTube world has subscriptions too, which are totally different from Twitch. I haven't even looked at that yet, you know. I should probably do it. Because you can subscribe, you can have, like, memberships on YouTube, you know, but anyway. I want to be able to offer something good. You know, because in Twitch land you can do tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 subscriptions are $4.99. Tier 2 is $9.99. It's great. And Twitch takes half of everything, by the way, which is lame, but it's also, we're here because they're here. You know, like, thanks, Twitch. And then the tier 3 subscriptions, get a load of this, $24.99. $24.99. So, you know, the tier 2 thing, I just want to give you something. It's important. And, like, Little Bird Stitch gave all these subscriptions, and who was it? It was actually in my notes to thank the person who donated. You donated through PayPal, because I have a donation button on my Twitch channel. On the About channel, there's a button for my Instagram, and a button for my Facebook, and a button for something else. And a donation button, and it goes to my PayPal, and it's totally safe and all that stuff. And was it Word and Bird Nerd, or was it Little Bird Stitch? I don't know. I'm so sorry. I have it here to, like, look up so I can thank you personally now. But I'm thanking you now, and I'll get your. Maybe you don't want your name said. I don't know, but you donated to me. And that is huge. It was amazing, and I really, really appreciate it. So anyway, I want to, you know, maybe it's like if you subscribe at tier 2, you get a free calendar from Valeriane LeBlond. That'd be cool. So I gotta work that out. But I mean, I don't know. There's so much to do. So maybe I could have taken, like, a Twitch class. But Eric's gonna give me a coaching lesson with somebody who can really help me with different things. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Welcome basket to Dana Simpson. Thank you for gifting us a tier 1 subscription to Prairie Susie. I'm so glad that you're here, Dana. It's amazing. And Court Quilts, you need to get the notifications. I think you got to check your phone to make sure your phone has, you know, the notification thing turned on. And then if you click follow me on Twitch or YouTube, you can get notifications when I go live. So that's about it. And by the way, also for folks who have come by new, I start the show at whatever hour, you know, I say on the schedule, but I don't come on until about 10 minutes in, because it takes time for people's notifications to show up. You know, it's amazing they show up at all, you know, even when it's just amazing that we have that capability to have a notification. So I give it a little time and then come on about 10 minutes after. Okay. Cannot breathe. Oh, you know what? So cannot breathe. You said in YouTube, over in YouTube, you said we need more videos of you and your husband. And I'm sure Eric. I'll tell him. I would love to do more of those on my YouTube channel. It was really fun. And you asked about where you can donate, and you can donate on my Twitch channel page. Go to twitch.tv/YoMaryFons and then click About, and then there's a donate button there. So yeah, you don't ever have to do that, but if you do it, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about Tracey Emin. Like I said, if bad words offend thee, you're not gonna like this, but I think you should stick around and watch. Okay, let's do this. I'm small, and let's do this. Do you some of you know Tracey Emin? Have you heard of her? Thank you. Okay, Little Bird Stitch. Thank you. Oh, I shine a light on quilts. That's lovely. And the solstice. Dee Marie mentioned that too. That it's her favorite day of the year. I saw that, Dee Marie, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah, and people have been talking about LeBlond, right? And her work, like Etsy. Barbara was saying that she's on Etsy, but that she's taking a break. So we'll watch her, and see what kind of product she's offering, and I don't know how much her paintings are, if you can get them in that way, but now we know about her. She's on the radar, and maybe if we make friends with her, she'll give us free stuff. Okay. Okay, so here's Tracey Emin, and some of her quilts. Okay, so I'm going to read to you as I go through these images from something written by Miguel Angel Medina, from the University of Malaga, in Spain. This is I got this from Open Access, and it's an open access thing. Arts. It's called Arts, and it's a sort of not a clearinghouse. That's not really what I mean, but it's a forum where people are putting their academic papers up and things, arts related, and it's a little bit long. I'm not reading it all for sure, but it's got an interesting tone to it. It's not just like Tracey Emin's Wikipedia page or something. It's a little bit more introspective about her. So, hey, Mantra. Mantra is gifting a tier 1 sub to Defreezer. Thank you so much. That's awesome. We appreciate you. The gift sub thing is a pretty cool feature, I think. Okay, so let's hear from Miguel about Tracey Emin. Born on July 3rd, 1963. Hang on here. I don't like how that's that. Okay, great. Born on July 3rd, 1963. So wait a minute. I was born in 79. I'm 42. So Tracey Emin is how much older than me? If she was... So she's like, if she was 16, she'd be 10 years old. So she's in her 60s, almost in her 60s. Is that right? That's crazy. Eric.
Sorry.
Tracey Emin is a British artist with Turkish Cypriot origins that in a few years changed her complete anonymity to become known and reckoned as one of the most famous active artists within the current international artistic landscape. So if you don't know, Tracey Emin is a very big deal, okay? And somebody, okay, art school training for sure. Yeah, okay, so which baby farmer in YouTube land knows Tracey Emin because you went to art school, and 1,000%, you know Tracy. Thanks, Angela, that's very sweet. Okay. Only the controverted Damien Hirst, controversial maybe, the most relevant representative component of the so-called, young British artists, okay? That was this group of people that were the group of artists who were called the Young British Artists, the YBAs, at their height. Only Damien Hirst has a similar level of celebrity among the British artists within Tracey Emin's generation. Tracey Emin is aggressive, intuitive, and passionate, and she makes use of her most painful, traumatic experiences in life and her own obsessions as sources to reinterpret them into extremely personal, creative experiences with an ostensible appearance of sincerity that in some cases can hurt some sensibilities. Okay? Yep, Rusty Cat, you know this. You know the Tracey Emin deal, right? Whoop, sorry. Okay. I tried to skim this to get to, the places the stuff that we want to see. Okay, this is one of her most famous works. Okay, I'm sure we'll hear about it a little bit more. The quality of this photograph isn't as good as I thought it would be. That's all right. This is a work called Bed, and Bed is an installation piece, and it's her bed. It's all the stuff, right, that was around her bed: cigarettes, condoms, liquor bottles, and stuff like that. So this was a really provocative work that she did. In, what was it, 90 something. We'll find out. And this is actually, there's Tracey Emin with Bed. It's a much better picture. I'll leave that there. Okay. There are many artists whose work can be known without references to their biographies. Thanks, Mantra. There are many other artists whose art may be understandable without knowing the details of their childhood, sexual relationships, or their way of thinking. This can be the case with Henry Moore, Jeff Koons, Francis Bacon, but there is another group of artists for which life and art are inseparable, as their life events sustain their own artistic works. This third group of artists practice an autobiographic art that has been termed confessional art by some. According to David Gallinson, this person that he's referencing, confessional art should be understood as, quote, practice of the visual arts in which painters and sculptors have used motifs drawn largely or exclusively from their own lives. Most British people know Emin's name. So this says, if you're listening, some people listen to the show while they're doing other stuff, and so I'll read to you some of the things that are on some of these quilts. So Drunk to the Bottom that is at the top here, and then at the bottom of My Soul. So the phrase there that is at the top of this quilt, and at the bottom, complete, is Drunk to the Bottom of My Soul. And here the embroidery says, it's not where I thought, somewhere distant, passing me by, not yet, dead for me, this is another place, right? So it's this, oh no, there's more writing in here. There's another place, I try to hold the hand of a cheat? I'm not sure, it's hard to read in this particular picture. It's a really high quality picture, but I think you'd have to see it in person to really get it. I don't know, that last word, I'm not sure. So among current active artists, let me go here. Tracey Emin is the most extreme case of an artist practicing of such confessional art. In this context, it's interesting to mention that in 2003, she was voted twice as position 41 on two very different top 100 lists. In 2003, on Art Review's list of the most important people in the art world, Emin occupied position 41, raising her above David Hockney, right, another British artist, and Damien Hirst, who was number 62. In the same year, Emin was also listed as position 41 in the Channel 4 program 100 Worst Britons. So, love her or hate her, right? Tracey Emin is very... people love her or hate her, right? She's divisive. Most British people know Emin's name, but very few know her artistic work. It's hard to get a proper knowledge of her work without the main support of the knowledge of the claimed biographic data to which each of her artistic works is claimed to appeal to. Okay. That is not a serious problem in the case of Tracey Emin. She is publicly exposed in a very detailed and apparently sincere and uninhibited way those sometimes banal, sometimes intimate, traumatic, and even sordid biographic details that provide meaning to her works. How she has built her own image has been extensively analyzed. Is it ghost? Natalie, it might have been ghost. That last word might have been, yeah. That unchaste exhibition of weaknesses, fears, traumas, and obsessions has supported the negative critical judgment from all those who erroneously underestimate Emin's talent, identifying her as an impudent exhibitionist or vocational provocateur. Tracey Emin has turned her own life into a public spectacle, an exhibitionist artist who fits well in the context of a contemporary voyeuristic society. It's really, looking closely is really good. Her letters are all hand cut, obviously. I mean, it's probably obvious that they are. And if you've seen my COVID quilt, which is almost done, I mean, Tracey Emin has absolutely influenced what I'm doing with applique. I hand cut all the letters for my friend Sophie's. She had a baby who I'm going to meet tomorrow. I'm so excited. I made her a baby quilt it was an alphabet quilt, and I hand cut all the letters. And I think it's Tracey Emin, her work, that has sort of it showed me early on. I mean, before I even realized I was going to be doing applique quilts at some point. I mean, I love the hand cut look. I don't want a template, I don't want to have my B's all match and my R's look perfect, right? Of course, she's an artist, and what I've got here for you too is a lot of the images of her art. She does neon work, and she's a wonderful. She draws and all that stuff. So she's really good. She's really good at art. She's not accidentally making amazing letters, but they're freeform, right? Which I think is really great. Okay. All her artistic production revolves around herself and her life experiences, or at least the artist has us believe that. The outside world does not seem to interest her, except for those details that directly affect her. On these grounds, her harshest critics have put her egocentrism or egotism at the center of their criticism, as if this fact could itself be enough to devalue her artistic work. At this moment, it's useful to enter into the details of her private life to fully understand Emin's artistic work. A twin of her brother Paul and daughter of the Turk Cypriot Enver Emin and his wife Pamela. Tracey Emin was born in London, but very soon her family changed their address. The hard years of her childhood and adolescence, including some sexual abuses and her rape after coming out of a disco on New Year's Eve, 1976, when she was 13 years old, are reflected time and again in her artistic work. This is particularly true for the series of monotypes. I'm skipping ahead here. So she made a lot of quilts and patchworks for a very long time. Okay, I'm going to go to that part. She's collaborated, I'm going to skip around now, with Vivienne Westwood, the famous British designer, clothing designer. She did a sponsorship deal with Beck's Beer. So Tracey Emin has had a lot of commercial success. I mean, she's famous, and in the art world, she's a name that you really know. A lot of people know, and so she's been savvy, I think, in her career. I want to get to okay. Okay, sorry. Where are the quilts? Okay, well, My Bed, which was made in 1998, is the artistic creation of Emin for which more has been said and written, for good and bad. It's an installation, we saw that earlier, showing her own bed in all its embarrassing glory. I'm going to leave this quilt up for a minute so you can there's a lot going on in that quilt, so I'll just leave it up like that. My Bed is an installation showing her own bed in all its embarrassing glory. Empty booze bottles, cigarette butts, stained sheets, worn panties, all in this mesh, constitutes the bloody aftermath of a nervous breakdown. Whoa, I didn't know that. And at the other side of the bed, a couple of chained suitcases. This work refers to a particular episode in her life in which she became disgusted with a similar sight. For Tracey Emin, the disgusting experience became an impelling force to find a creative exit. Her own will to set out of context this chaos of her own life transformed filth into art. Great. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot about my bed here, right? I mean, what do you think? Or what do you think about the Tracey Emin stuff? I mean, they're quilts, right? I mean, I've had a Tracey Emin, file for a long, long time to show you, but I don't know. I mean, I think this kind of thing it's so important to look at. You're not going to see it in a quilt magazine. You're not going to see. I mean, QuiltCon, if there's any modern quilters out there, Kevin, if you're, lurking tonight, there ought to be a Tracey Emin exhibit at QuiltCon. It would not be easy, right? Because her stuff is so, it's really expensive and it's like owned, by these fancy museums. But I mean, I don't know. Is it possible? Because I think a QuiltCon special exhibit of Tracey Emin would be amazing. I think maybe it's because I'm really a fan of just boundless creativity when it comes to quilts, right? Like, because we've talked before how, I grew up in this particular time, and many of us did, and have been making quilts in this particular time when making them perfect or making them, look right so you can show them to your guild and people can ooh and ah over them and they can... It's not the right sound effect yet. But I mean, having them be sort of perfect, making quilts out of magazines, using the patterns that you find in magazines and using the fabric that they are advertising you use, for the quilt. Like that's just kind of what I grew up with. And it wasn't until my sort of Declaration of Independence, right, that I wanted to start making quilts that you couldn't write patterns for, basically. The pictorial quilts that I'm always talking about, that we look at a lot on this show. And I think Tracey Emin, I saw these quilts a long time ago, and my mom didn't show me these quilts. I saw them somehow when I was, going along, minding my own business, and they're just hugely influential to me because they're free and they're arresting, and they're made by a woman, who's using the cultural weight we assign to quilts. Obviously, the medium of the quilt is so meaningful, and it's also worth noticing. I'm gonna get to see if this person talks about the quilts themselves. Wouldn't it be funny if he did not? But is she an art quilter? Is she a member of SAQA? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think she is. So what's that separation? Why is the fine art world and the studio art quilt world so separate? Because Tracey Emin is part of this fine art world. The woman we looked at earlier who owns the Pauline Burbidge the quilt, that wonderful woman who has the art collection, right? The fine art world and the quilt world so often don't ever meet up, and that's a shame, because she's making quilts and she's making them, choosing them as her medium because she realizes the power of them, just like Ray Laurie did, Rusty Cat says they need time to it says Little Bird Stitch Rusty Cat is responding to Little Bird Stitch, who says they need time to process, right? Yes, it's a lot. It's definitely, there's a lot going on here, and Rusty Cat responded, you need time to process them. They're incredible. They have a punk aesthetic, and they take me back to my art college days at the turn of the millennium. Yep. And over in YouTube, Witch Baby says, I don't think her work is egotistical, personally. I think it speaks to a female experience of the world, which isn't witnessed with a patriarchal context without intense criticism. It's true. I mean, when a woman, when a female artist, when an artist just is basically, I mean, it's so transgressive. Quilts are not supposed to have, foul language on them, right? It's completely at odds to have, profanity on a quilt, right? and artists, I mean, that's their job. An artist's job is to push the boundaries of what most of us think is okay, most of what people notice about the world. You know, their role is to provoke, to illuminate, to be voyeurs, right, of their own life. Sometimes, in the case of Tracey Emin, using her own life for her art, and it really bothers some people, right? Because because at QuiltCon, it's like when there's profanity on quilts. I mean, I wonder if some people have dipped out of the show when they saw bad words on these quilts, right? Because at QuiltCon, it's happened before. Oh, thanks, Shutterstock. This is really great, though. Look at this. It says, her writing on this says, "I cannot believe I was afraid of ghosts." Tracey Emin, 1969 to 1964. So this is part of an installation. I don't know that. No, that's not the bed piece. But at QuiltCon, you know, when there has been bad words on quilts, and there have been many times, people were furious. The people, you know, some people were really mad, because it's like, how dare you do that to a quilt? You know, I didn't come to this show to see profanity, you know, and it's just, and some people would feel it's in such bad taste, it's in terrible taste, and it's the same kind of thing with political quilts too. You know, it's like, get your politics out of my quilts, you know, get your profanity and your nudity, right? Get your sexuality out of my quilts. And I think the question is, you know, well, why? Why? For this particular person, that's how she's expressing, you know, herself, and by using the quilt as her medium. Wow, yeah, this is intense. By using quilts as her medium, she is saying, you know, I'm fearless. Basically, I'm fearless. I'm going to explore whatever I want to explore. I'm going to take this symbolic cultural artifact, right? This quilt that means so much in so many different ways. It means peace and home and warmth and safety. It means sleep and, you know, the hearth and family and all this stuff. And I'm going to say, no, it's going to say something else, you know, and that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, whether or not you like it. It takes a lot of courage. And something else, you know, you saw those pictures. This is Tracey Emin here. I love her bag. I mean, can I just say, like, whatever you think about Tracey Emin, that is totally cool, and I want to totally steal that idea. They're huge, you know. You've seen they're huge quilts, so it's not just like, here's my quilt, and it's like really provocative. It's like, no, here's my life, and it's really, really big. You know, my feelings are big. My art is big. You know, that's part of it, is the scale of the thing, right? Okay. There's Tracey Emin. Oh, I think she's so cool. I told, okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah, I love you people so much. Yep, I love you all so much. Intense. Okay, yeah, they're dark and complex. It's true. It is. It's very, very complex. Susan R. Michael, the message and the chosen medium work together. I agree. And her work is, I think it's fair to say, deeply feminine. I mean, she is seeing the world and seeing her life. I mean, I think her womanness is just really, it's just a huge part of it. She's, you know, sort of speaking of her identity, you know, in that way. I can't talk, I'm terrible at talking about art. I really am. It's very difficult to talk about art in a way that makes sense, that is articulate. But Tracey Emin's womanness is just forefront to me in all of her work, and we'll see more of it that's not quilts in just 1 second. Yeah, Ivy, you know, some people are saying seeing it up close, having time to process it would be very good. The write down says, my thoughts about art versus other genres or worlds has everything to do with the conversation you're having as a maker. This is what I mean. You people are amazing. So good. MC John says, I'm happy to learn about her. I'll look for her artist talks. I'm not sure how I feel about the work, but I want to know more. Oh, yes, my people. Jody says, aren't they like a personal diary of a woman in pain? I think that's, yes. I think that is an excellent, it is like a diary. They are absolutely like a diary. And remember what Georgia Bonesteel said to me, the great Georgia Bonesteel said to me, making a quilt is like writing a letter. And I think that she's right about pretty much everything because she's Georgia Bonesteel, but it's really true. So for you to say it's like a diary is really interesting because quilts are, we talk about all the time, quilts are documents. They are journals. They keep our history. People who couldn't write or read made quilts, and that's sort of how they express themselves, right? And so words and quilts have been a thing for so long. Okay, for so long, generations. Quirk Quilt says, I appreciate the effort of making pattern quilts, but my heart sings when I lay my eyes on weird, one-of-a-kind quilts. That is why we are friends. Poetry like this is classified as confessional. Susan R. Michael says it's absolutely true. To effect change. Sue's crying. That's awesome. And Myra, that tote. I know. Ooh, maybe I've been thinking about merch, for the show, for the Quilt Nerd show. I mean, how many people are going to buy merch, Like, could I get tote bags, like wholesale tote bags that are cool, and then like personally stitch your name on them for a $24.99 tier 3 subscription? That is happening. That's good. I gotta write that down. I'll write it down on my notes. Okay. Little Bird Stitch says, for her themes, I think they're even more powerful being quilts. It breaks that barrier of intimacy and airing it all out loud. These are not comforting quilts to see, but perhaps they're comforting to make for her. And Yvonne says, damn the quilt police, or damn quilt police. Exactly. The quilt police have been very upset at QuiltCon several times. But not just at QuiltCon. I mean, we got to talk about scandals sometime. We got to talk about quilt scandals. That would be a really fun chapter of Quilt Nerd, because Jonathan Shannon, we talked about his quilt. He had the Dios de los Muertos, the quilt about his friends dying of AIDS, right? It was an AIDS-related message in his quilt. And the chicks at a quilt festival, I think, it was censored. They wouldn't show it in the show because it had a reference to his homosexuality or something. It's ridiculous. You kind of can't believe it happened, but it did. And so, this is going to turn off so many people. People who like Quilt Nerd and who are just awesome nerds, but there's, this is a very provocative piece of art here. Obviously, that's what she wants to do. She wants to express herself, and you might not like it, and it may be ugly, and it may be, disgusting to you. But what does that say about her? She's like, well, this is really me. I'm being really honest. Am I disgusting? For just being human? I'm having a human experience, right? And this is what it's like. And so it's just really interesting. Anyway. Rusty Cat says, sorry. Oh, that's good. Myra says, yes, my thoughts. And thank you, Susan R. Michael. Women should not be silenced. Yeah, not on a quilt and not in their lives. We're all having a human experience. We have to figure it out, no matter what gender you are. Rusty Cat says, she's constantly being attacked in the UK press. She's very strong to keep creating in the onslaught. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Turning traditional quilts on their ear, Padma says. Totally. The quilt is not first. Yeah, that's interesting, Ivy. I think I know what you mean. Yep. Right Down says, as a 30-year-old artist, I hated her work. As a newly 50-year-old, I might have a fresher perspective now. That's so interesting. Happy 50th year, by the way. 50 is very cool, I think. Civvy Mac. Nice. Civvy Mac says, they have bad words on them, but they could still keep you warm on a cold night. Ooh! That was good. Yep. Autobiographical. Oh, yeah. So good. Okay, so here's some other work that she's made, okay? Oh, wait, there's a couple more things here. Yeah, Georgia Bonesteel is the queen of everything. It's so important, Rusty Cat says, to search for your own to search and challenge your own artistic limits. Agreed. And the message that Susan gets from Tracey Emin is, we are all individuals and are all able to express ourselves without having to apologize for not being good enough. We are all good enough. Just put that on a little card and I'll post it. I'll like put it up on my monitor, for this show, right? We're all good enough. So she has done a lot of this. She was doing neon for a little while in this wonderful script. And I see a lot of people kind of ripping this off, actually. And there's no new ideas under the sun, but I feel like Tracey Emin was doing a lot of this neon statement stuff, these messages, almost memes, before other people were doing it. And I think this is King's Cross Station, but it says, "I want my time with you," on neon, at a train station in London. And Ms. Ninepatch says, by the way, over in YouTube that, ouch, this woman has a lot of pain in her life. I think that that's fair. And don't we all, don't we all? If I made art about the pain that I've had in my life, and, it's like, if I was really honest about it, that art would be pretty intense. It would. I mean, you don't get to 42 and, and have an easy story, I think, because life is just really hard. So, here's another bag, Myra. Here's another bag. International Woman, Me Every Time. I'm not sure, but this is really cool. This is really great. It's so good. And there's like a ribbon on it, right? Like a blue ribbon or something. Oh, here, let me get out of the way. Hang on. Help, it disappeared. So this is great. I can't move it over too much because it'll disappear, just like I did. But this is really cool. Yeah, if there was like a $100 subscription, I'd figure out how to make some of these. This is so great. And she was not cutting up a vintage quilt, by the way, to make this stuff. She made her own patchwork. Damn it. Okay, let me come back. Hello. All right, a few more pictures here. Rusty Cat, it's 3 a.m. You gotta go back to sleep. Rusty Cat, go to sleep. I'm so glad that you were here. You're great. And you had a lot of great things to share tonight, so shh, go to sleep. Yeah, totally. Look at her, she's so cool. And you see, one of the points I wanted to make about her, and just about, I said it the other week or on another stream, you look at artists who make like those neon pieces, it's like, well, I could do that, and I get it. I've said that before in my life, but a few years ago I realized, I think it was probably because I went to art school, right? And I don't think I should keep saying that. I don't want to be someone who's like, I went to art school. I'm never going to say it again unless it's really, really important, because I just don't want to be that guy. I met that guy. It would be like, sorry. If an artist is at this level where they're being displayed, their work is being displayed in, a King's Cross Station in London, if they're being exhibited at MoMA, if they're getting all this attention and their work is being celebrated and maybe hated too, but that it doesn't happen by mistake. Tracey Emin, and I've got a few images of her drawings. She's a very talented artist. She's been making art for a very long time. There was an exhibit recently, I think, of her drawings. Yeah, Ivana said it. Power and brains. Hell yeah. God, she's just awesome. So you see, she's a painter. She's not an illustrator, but she printmaking and sculpture and writing and photography. I mean, she's really good, and she's very experienced, and so people who'd say, anybody could put profanity on a quilt, it wasn't even that complicated of a quilt. I mean, look at some of the stuff, things that you all make are much more complicated in terms of piecing, 1,000%. And an artist like Tracey Emin probably has people working for her in the studio model. She might not have even sewn those ultimately, or some parts of them. It's true. And it's not that much, it's not a scandal. It's just the way some artists will work in their studios. So, you could say, well, she's not even that talented, but then you look at her whole body of work, and it's like, oh, I mean, look at those works behind her. She made, this is her studio, so she knows what she's doing. This is an illustration of Kate Moss, 2000 or 2008. I mean, come on. Forget it's Kate Moss. It's like a nude, right? This nude sketch, and it's just beautiful. It's just wonderful. Look at the face. I can't draw a face like that. I can't draw a woman. I can't draw that. It would be terrible. It would look so dumb. But Tracey Emin knows what she's doing, man. And then this is for sale, actually on a website I found. Did she win the Turner Prize? I think she did win the Turner Prize. That's really interesting. This is good. So Witch Baby, I'm so glad you're here. Really great contributions to the conversation. Thank you. Witch Baby says, my therapist said something I thought was profound concerning the personal pain we experience in our lives. Something like, everyone experiences a lot of suffering, but not everybody thinks about it. Whoa! That is great. Everybody experiences a lot of suffering, but not everybody thinks about it. Wow. And that can be good and bad, right? Like, I think about it a lot. And Tracey Emin thinks about it. And it's like a gift to think about it, right? Because then you can try to get perspective on it. You can try to sort of analyze what was going on there, But then, of course, it's very painful to, like, dig in the dirt, if you will, Anyway, this is a textile piece, T.E., Tracey Emin, and it's a book. There's a book. I wanted this to be the truth. Tracey Emin, 1996. So she made 65 of these, and there's a book. And I don't know. I mean, are those her children? No, I don't think they would be her kids. But anyway, so it's a little artist book, which is a whole genre of stuff. This is another bed. And this is what we saw earlier. It was a detail shot of this, like, dust ruffle or something. I cannot believe I was afraid of ghost Tracey Emin. Yeah. So quilts, pillows. See, she's got embroidered pillows. What does it say? Cry. Oh. Hold on. In a world of sleep, I cry in a world of sleep. Wow. I cry in a world of sleep. In a world of sleep, I cry in a world of sleep. Wow. Please, God, don't do this to me, is what another pillow says. And then she's got, drawings up here. Really, really interesting. I love it, y'all. I just do. Of course I do. Look at all the fabric, I mean, if you're a quilt person, you're a fabric person. And if there's fabric, I'm into it. Hey, thank you. Sujan says Turner Prize. She won in 1999. It's a big deal. You don't win the Turner Prize for nothing. That's it? Is that it? Okay, that's it. There's so much more I could show you. There's more quilts. There's more art. I interrupted myself. Imagine that earlier. There was an exhibit recently, I think, of her sketches of Tracey Emin, sketches and drawings. I don't know where it was, but I remember that, and I remember saying, she's amazing. She's this amazing artist. So that's Tracey Emin, and this paper that I printed off. There's advantages to not reading all of the stuff that I'm going to share with you before I share it with you. But every once in a while, I'm like, I don't know. That guy was kind of getting a little bit off track, and we could learn more about the quilts. And I encourage you to do it. I mean, it's true. This isn't a class. There's no homework. It's entertainment, really. But what did Tracey Emin say about her quilts? If you want to know more, I mean, Google away. Yeah. So what did we do tonight? We did so much. We talked about how there's a New Year's Eve show. We talked about how Saturday night I'm gonna get controversial, and so you should come for that. And on Friday night, the New Year's Eve show. That's right. We can all cheers together. We looked at Pauline Burbidge. We learned about that amazing woman and her art collection. It'll be in the episode notes for the Discord. I'll send them to you, Susan. Thank you. We talked about Diana Springhall was her name. The Met has a little story time that looks fun, and a quilt is related to that. we took a look at the Burbidge, the gallery show, and Valeriane LeBlond, this wonderful artist. And then we talked about Tracey Emin, all on a Tuesday night. Within 2 hours and 15 minutes, we did all that. I don't know. I'm just saying. That's crazy. And so, John, it's your birthday eve, and you're taking this show as an early present. It's been amazing. Well, I agree. We got to hang out, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm really happy birthday to you. Thank you to all my subscribers and my followers. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see it. I love to see it. And thanks for sticking with me, you know. So I'll see you on Thursday at 11 a.m. And to my UK people, I'm looking forward to seeing you at 5 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. Okay? We got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night show. Bang, bang, bang. I gotta get to work. Okay. Bye, y'all. Love you.